Hey y'all, what's up? This is Chris from Blackstone Cherry, and you're watching the Helix Hour with Eric Broadbent.
Hey, this is Vernon Reed from Living Color, and you're watching the Helix Hour.
Hey guys, my name is Gemma Jura. I'm the guitar player for Evanescence, and you're watching the Helix Hour.
Welcome to the Helix Hour, brought to you in part by Stewart Travel Guitars. See the incredible stowaway travel guitar at stewartguitars.com. Microphones for the Helix Hour are provided by Rode Microphones. Now, let's talk some Helix. Hey everyone, a happy Sunday to you all. Welcome to the Helix Hour. We are live once again and making a return to the channel here. It's a nice, long overdue. It's one of our other shows way back, but now we're having them for the first time on the Helix Hour, and we're going to be getting into some nice nitty-gritty Helix discussion throughout the program. A good friend, a longtime fan of this fellow, Ron Bumblefoot Thal. How are you, my friend?
Good. Thank you so much for having me on the Helix Hour. I must say I love Helix. They're a fantastic band. I've loved them since the 80s, and I'm really looking forward to discussing their body of work. The personnel, everything. So thank you for having me on.
Canadian band, right? And not that long ago, a couple years back, I didn't know Helix, this device, from the Canadian band. I'm like, okay, well, let's find out what more this is. And then all of a sudden, I found it changed my life. And I gotta say, Helix, the band, probably changed my life as a teenager as well too. So they both have a little bit of play or kind of a soft spot in my heart.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, we've got lots to talk about today, and some guests. I've had some guests on both of my shows where every show is work as far as getting into the wheelhouse of that particular guest, and sometimes it's not so much. I did a show on Friday night with one of the fellows, as you and I talked about an email, one of the writers, producers, directors from Breaking Bad, and it was an easy show to write for. And you today, usually I start my shows about 2 weeks in advance for writing for the show, whatever, and yours just flew. I mean, that shows a lot about you, just you're easy to speak with. So I think we're going to have a fantastic show today. We've got some great people in the chat, which we're going to go say hi to right now. And as you know, the drill, just like over on the old show when you were on, we'll say hi to them throughout the afternoon and evening, depending on where they're tuning in from. And we're going to get into some great stuff today as well. So let's go say hi to a bunch of amazing people.
Look at them on the chat. Look at all these people.
Yeah, Ron's got the chat open as well, too. Frank Rashad. Frank Rashad from Line 6 is here. Nice to have you. Six String Brian is here. Scott Roos is here. The Party Line, which is my beautiful better half, Sandra Lee, and producer. She'll be sharing a lot of your links throughout the afternoon. Paul Sura, nice to have you, buddy. Thank you so much. Thank you for becoming one of our Patreon supporters. Bumblefoot himself is in our chat. First time I think I've ever had the Bumblefoot in a... I've had you on the show. I've never had you in a chat. That's awesome. This is great.
I'm in two places at once.
I know you are. Doublefoot. Doublefoot? Double mint? I'm not sure how that works. Mr. Hellstorm is here. Landshark Mark is here. Nikki T is here. Awesome. Chris Robertson is here. Hey, there we go. Chris was in the opening credits. Nice. Ladybug is here. Guitar Hack. Let me see. Scott Roos. I mentioned Scott Roos. Nick Rush joining in from South Africa. And Nick... Oh, man, tasty. Nick is over in South Africa. He's a Line 6 and Yamaha artist, and he sent me a nice, lengthy message today on Facebook. I didn't get a chance to read it, but I just saw it was about you. He must have met you in travels. Do you know Nick Rush from over in South Africa?
I'm wondering, maybe we met. I was in South Africa last October.
Okay, that's probably when.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll read the message, and I'll share it with you after. I didn't get a chance to read it before the show.
What an amazing place. My God.
I bet.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And like yourself, he's an amazing vocalist as well too. I mean, a killer guitar player, but amazing vocalist. I'll share the discussion that he shared with me after with you because I didn't get a chance to read it, but I know it was about you. Alex is here. Let me see if I'm missing anybody else. Oh man, my vision is so bad. I'll come back to the chat in a little bit as well too. But first of all, it's very, very nice to have you back. How have you been holding up since, and we're going to talk, we'll get in depth as far as how the tour just kind of come to a halt, and we'll talk about that in depth. But more importantly, how are you holding up in all this kind of craziness?
I'm good. For me, normal life is the craziness. This has been much needed quiet calm. the circumstances for which it's happening suck about the biggest pair of balls you can imagine. But, and there's so many people that I know and don't that have been sick as hell, and people that are fighting to take care of those people. But for me, I've just been acting very responsibly, washing my hands constantly, keeping away from people, just isolating alone in the studio every day, which is something I kind of dreamed of for years. If I could just take a break and spend some quality time in the studio, just to get the creative momentum back. Because for me, either you're on tour and you exist for everyone else, or you're in the studio where you're really digging deep into yourself and just creating. And I've missed that. I wish it was for a different reason that this happened, but whatever happens in life is an opportunity. You just have to see it that way. You have to realize it and say, this is a chance for me to do something, whatever that something is. And a lot of people have been doing very useful things and very helpful things, very purposeful things. And they've been tapping into a part of themselves that has been dormant for too long. And find that over the months I've been hearing a lot, and I've been saying it a lot, which is you don't realize how much you need to slow down until you're forced to.
Yeah.
You don't want to. You feel like you're gonna miss out, like it's a race or something, and you're not gonna get to the finish line. But there is no finish line. Well, there is a finish line for every single one of us. For the entire universe, there's a finish line. But until then, maybe we should spend less time worrying about the finish line and just enjoying the race and the speed at which we are and where we are during that point. And that's what I've been doing. So I've been doing a little bit of teaching, been doing some charity stuff, been doing things for U.S. embassies around the world, been writing, been recording, been doing some guest work, been making albums with my friends, all kinds of things. And just enjoying this moment of focus that is so rare in my own life. So, yeah.
Absolutely beautiful said. The way that you said, don't worry about the finish line, enjoy the race, right? And the finish line is when we expire, and that could be 30, 40 years, 50 years for a lot of us, 60 years. It could be a couple years. And hopefully with the pandemic, it doesn't affect it and bring that finish line faster. But I love that and enjoy it.
Yeah. Ultimately, like somebody said, live each day as if you were going to die tomorrow. Learn each day as if you were going to live forever. That's great.
That is. And as you told me off air as well, too, it's kind of funny, you're busier now than when you weren't forced to slow down.
Yeah. Because there's so many other things for me that I do that I can't do when I'm on the road. And now that I'm off the road, it's a ton of all of that stuff. The writing, the producing, the guest work, the teaching, the this, the that, all the things, the creative work that I get to do. So I've been doing a ton of that, just putting out music whenever I can. Those little quarantine-style videos here and there.
Yeah.
There's actually something coming out. Tomorrow will be out. Another little something. So, yeah.
That'll be on your Facebook, or where would we find that?
It'll be on social media, and I'll put the audio of it on my Bandcamp page. I love Bandcamp. That thing is wonderful. Besides the fact that you can pretty much release anything you want, how you want exactly, when you want to, everything. But all the bonus things that you can include, if you want to include all this high-res artwork or alt mixes or anything, whatever it is, you can include that in there. And that's not something you can do, if you're just uploading to an aggregator to streaming sites or anything like that.
Right.
They're very rigid and strict in everything. But you could personalize your releases so much with Bandcamp. I wish I jumped on that sooner.
It is a good platform for sure, and we'll be sharing some of those links today because we talked about several singles throughout the program on Bandcamp. And my son uses it, who's only 14 years old. He has more releases on Bandcamp. I'm 52 years old this year. He has more releases on Bandcamp than I've released in my life. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Great. It's a great thing.
It is for sure. A couple other people jumping in as well. And Frank Rashad sending a super chat. Thank you, Frank. You're the best. You support in so many ways. A few other people I missed. I had to magnify the chat by about 110% so I can actually read it. Alex Belarian is here. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Canyon Carver, make some noise, Ron. We'll have some great playing here today for sure. Tom Trollman is here saying, oh my God, Bumblefoot. Antonello Pudva, one of the greatest players in Italy, is joining us as well too. And
Grazie.
Awesome. See if I miss anybody else. Brad Miller's jumping in. Says good day, Eric and Ron. And let me see here. I think that is it. So what we're going to do here, just for a quick second, I'm going to roll a quick clip that just talks about how people can get your preset later on today. That's going to be in the live chat, and how people can support the show. Then we're going to come back into some great meat and potatoes of all this Helix stuff. So you won't see the clip, but you'll hear it. I'm going to roll it right now, and we'll be right back. Hey everyone, we will have a preset for you today later on in the program, courtesy of today's guest. You have to be a live chat participant, so jump over there in the live chat, say hi. Don't be shy. We're a family over there. We'll have lots of fun. Also, if you would be so kind as to like and share this video. Plus, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on all post notifications. And we're giving you our personal guarantee we will work just as hard to keep you as a subscriber as we did to get you as one. Lastly, if you feel like supporting what we do here, we have super chats available in the live chat, and of course our PayPal address, which is listed in a couple different spots on the screen as well. Your support is greatly appreciated. And now let's get right back to the show. So we're back with that, and so those all the details that we like to share as well too. And we'll have our producer Sandra share the link later on in the program when we get right into the meats and potatoes and talk about this preset. But I believe this was used on an upcoming Dave Ellefson release.
Yeah. He's doing an album of covers.
Nice.
And I sang and laid a guitar solo on one of the songs, and this is the preset for the solo. Do you want to get into it now? I could.
You know what? Let's do that now. Let's do that. So I'm going to get Sandra. She'll hear me now. There's a bit of a delay. I'll have her share that link right now, and you can tell us about the preset. Seems like you got the guitar handy. I know fans will love that.
Here's what it sounds like in the song. This is not mixed or anything, just my own. Ooh, that's loud. Let's pull that back. It's pretty, well, it's the song Sheer Heart Attack from Queen. So I sang it. Well, you're just 17, all you want to do is disappear. And all the big harmonies and everything. Woo-hoo! And then the solo comes up, and if you know the original, it's pretty strange noises and things going on. So we just took that to the next level. So let me play you soloed. Basically, if you gave R2-D2 a bunch of crack, yeah. Things going on. Overtones. So, let's get into the preset. Do you need me to put my camera on the screen for it or anything? Or?
No, you can keep it on you. It's fine.
Okay. So, let's open it up. What do we have here? Starting step by step. The input, a little bit of gate. I always have a little bit of gate just to keep it from getting too noisy. Then there is a pitch, a dual pitch shifter, where we're going 2 octaves up plus 24. And then we are going just a major 7th up plus 11. Now the plus 11 one is 50 milliseconds. And they're at a mix of 60%.
Okay.
So the first note, if I take out the major 7th, we just have, and let me take off this. Okay. So we have that. And then we add in that 50 millisecond delayed major seventh in there. And now we're starting to get a little bit of strangeness. So now we have. Okay. From there it is. It gives it that dissonance.
Nice.
And then after it, we are using a pitch delay, or as they call it, a pitch echo. So we go into just a straight up mono pitch echo, and we set this to 100 milliseconds. So now you have your initial note you hit, then you have the 50 millisecond major seventh. The original note you hit also has 2 octaves up. And now on this, with the pitch echo, it's taking your original note and the 50 millisecond note, and it's adding 100 milliseconds, a delay, which is 1 repeat, 0 feedback, at a +8 interval, like a sharp 5. So, taking away the original pitch effect, the dual pitch, and just the pitch echo, that's what you have.
Okay.
Once you add that pitch back into it, now you have the 2 octave and the major seventh, 50 millisecond, and then 100 millisecond. Both of them repeat again, a sharp 5 up. So you have
Yeah.
and what you do is you just start hitting some crazy notes. And if you hit a note every 200 milliseconds, you'll get a nice consecutive 16th note batch going. So. Like that. If you get really crazy, you could go beyond the fretboard with it. Okay, let's say you're just going. You put these on there. You should. That's the pitch delay. Here's again the delay echo. Put them together, and you got the R2D2 stuff.
Incredible.
If we were going to take these away and just take the notes, you can do things. What I do in my playing is just part of my I guess, shtick, for lack of a better word. Something I've been doing for like 30 years is I play with a thimble on this finger where, you're tapping and then to get additional notes from here beyond the fretboard.
Nice.
So with that now, if you add in all of this, it's really weird. Get into those.
Incredible.
You have a wide range of strange stuff that you're getting out of this. So pretty much that's what's going on with the solo. From there, I have, just to swish it around a little bit, just a phase 90, a script mod phase that I have on 50% mix, just to give it a little bit of a little bit of the Eddie Van Halen in there. Then we're going to an angle meteor, which, as we all know, is an angle. And that's the bulk of the guitar sounds there. You take all this stuff out. Sending it into a typical, 4x12. mixed with it, just to fill in some of the holes in the sound, I have just a wee bit of the Line 6 Epic amp. I like to mix amps. It's something I started doing when I owned a Veta. The Veta combo is I would mix two amps together because one has something the other doesn't, and as you put them together, the blend fills any holes. So you get a lot of good tone and stuff going on. And I found that the Line 6 Epic was a very good complement to the Engel. When you listen to the two by themselves, you wouldn't picture it, but what they bring together is something really nice in the mid-range. A smoothness, it takes the brittle stuff out of the Engel. Yeah, I have that going into that, to just a 4x12. And then I have the two amps, two cabs, and then they both sum together into an external IR. Yes, an IR on top of the IRs. And I feel like that's necessary to make it truly feel like there's air moving. So my favorite IR, I've scoured the internet, and my absolute favorite one is a free one from ML Sound Labs called the Best IR in the World. I pretty much use that as my go-to, and all my presets that I have, without that, they just don't work. They don't sound right. They need that as the final oil in the engine.
Okay.
After that, delay, reverb, and then an EQ. The very last thing I do is I EQ it in case there's any mud issues that you have to knock out at 62 or 125, in case you want to boost anything in the mids around 500 or 1. And I usually take a little bit of 4K out because 4K, just at least for my guitars and my playing, ends up sounding a little nasally, a little and it gets that out and makes it a little warmer and less just brassy and biting and harsh in a bad way. I follow it up with a boost of 8K and 16K, which just puts the life back into it because the guitar does not have a lot of stuff going on beyond like 5K really. The rest of it is sort of the white noise area. But once you start pulling away the upper area like 4K, it starts getting dark, and scooping up the top after it helps to balance it out. So that's my preset, my crazy preset. A little bit of mod to get that. And then the weirdness.
Incredible.
So
that's great.
I hope you all check out that preset and have fun with it and disturb your neighbors and scare your dog.
Cats and dogs go crazy. No, that's fantastic.
Beautiful with it.
A couple things. I made some notes about that preset because just before the show, a lot of times when our guests provide us with presets, I don't get a chance to put them on before the show. But yours today, I did, and started playing with it. And a couple things I noted right away, and one of our good friends in the chat, Rob, has mentioned as well too. Dual pitch is my favorite thing. I use dual pitch a lot for a pitch detune, getting that old Eddie Van Halen, Steve Lukather, Steve Morris, all the guys back in the day that were doing this wide, wet, dry, wet. And I'll use let's say anywhere between a -7 to -11 or so on the left, and then +7 to +11 on the right. It just gives you this wide spectrum, right? So I love that. And of course, the script is phase 90. You have to have that, as you mentioned there as well too. And then of course EQ at the end, being a 10 block, basically modeled after the MXR 10 band EQ. I love that pedal. And so those things I found right away that I just loved about the preset. And even when you take away the special effects that you've added there with the time-based delay, with the harmonization and the pitch, so I know those were needed for the effect and the solo. But when you pull those away, the preset as a whole stands alone as a great rock preset too. Very versatile.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. You need a good starting point. Even if you don't hear what's there, just always start with the best sound you can get and build off of that.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, we're going to come back in a few moments to talking about how you discovered Helix, and I have a good idea how you discovered it and who you discovered it from, quite possibly. But before we do that, I want to talk about going back just a little while ago. It seems like almost forever ago, especially probably for you and the guys in the band. But you were back on tour overseas with Sons of Apollo, and it was getting pretty bad over in Europe and the regions over there. It was like very, very bad. And, I think, there could be a few others as well, 2 other bands too, but I think you guys were the catalyst behind, okay, we got to go home, man. This is looking pretty bad. And I know you probably talked to your road and your tour managers and everything like that. And when Jeff Scott Soto was on the show probably about a month back or so, he was over on our Rock Shop live show. He mentioned, they kind of looked to Billy for like kind of the most seasoned veteran of the band. And it's like, what are your thoughts? And everyone kind of is like, yeah, let's get home. And that kind of started the catalyst for bands not only to postpone tours, but to put a halt on everything. That must have been very hard.
So we destroyed the 2020 touring. We were the catalyst. It was a strange time to be away from home on the road. It started in November. I was in China. I might be patient zero that brought it everywhere. I was in China doing an acoustic tour with Court. They make some really nice high-end acoustic guitars. They have a Gold series. And I was out there doing a bunch of acoustic shows in South Korea and China. And I remember toward the end of the China run, some reports about the nearby town where a couple of people got kind of sick from eating something that they shouldn't have. And it was and that was late November. From there, I went to Indonesia, played a nice blues festival with Paul Gilbert, and then I went to Vietnam and did some nice sort of storyteller one-man shows, sitting in a chair with an electric guitar, singing and playing and using loopers and whatever else. Then from there, where did I go? I don't remember. But so that was my first run-in with the virus. Actually, it wasn't my first run-in, because in October, I went and visited a penguin beach. Was it Boulder Beach, I think, where all the penguins are in South Africa. And I immediately came down with something that just hit me hard. Right after there, I went straight to Canada, and I had no voice. I couldn't speak, and everyone started getting sick. I think it was just a seasonal flu that was working its way across, and I was just working across with it. So I think wherever I go, a pandemic breaks out. Yeah. So we go, it's the end of February, and we have a 20-date tour coming up. We have like a week and a half of fly dates, just flying everywhere, a lot of Eastern Europe. And then we grab the bus around Switzerland or Italy and do the next couple of weeks all around Europe in the bus. So as we're getting ready to start doing that first show in Germany, things started really getting bad over there. It was like you could see the exponential escalation of it all happening all over. And we started thinking, like, all right, there's a good chance we may not be able to do this, whether we want to or not. It may not be allowed. And what is our exit plan? And we needed multiple exit plans. All right, if we leave after this date, we drop off the gear here and ship it to this, and you guys fly out of this one, and you fly out of this one. Our poor tour manager every night was up just coming up with an end of tour plan on a day's notice for each possibility. And we made it through 4 shows before it got so bad that Billy was pretty sure that there was going to be a lockdown. And he saw it coming, absolutely. I was naive to it. I had a little bit of juvenile bravado. I was like, it's just the fucking flu, blah, blah, blah. It's fine. Screw that. No, we're fine. What do you mean? Of course we're going to get home. They're not going to do that. That's not going to happen. Boy, was that wrong. Yeah. We stuck it out as long as we could. We pulled the plug. We knew that if we even attempted to start the bus run, for one thing, we would be in the hole $36,000 for a bus, just looking at our own economics of it all, which if shows get canceled, we're going to be losing tens of thousands of dollars that we can't afford to lose. So there's that issue. But the main issue was that the borders were closing, the venues were not allowing people. It was impossible. It couldn't happen. There was no way it was going to happen. We got home, and sure enough, in our dust behind us, we're just watching Europe, just everything shut down and doors getting locked, and it's like, all right, we did the right thing. But it was funny because, well, not funny, but it was interesting how a lot of the promoters who booked multiple shows, they were pissed off. This was the beginning of it. And they were like, there's not a single case in our country. Everything is fine. You didn't need to do this. We're going to sue the shit out of you. Like all that kind of stuff going on. And a week later, their governments were like, country is locked down. And the same promoters hit us back, in a different frame of mind. And they're like, we understand that, we get it. And hopefully we can just make this up when the doors open. We look forward to all picking up where we left off. And just let's get through this with the least amount of casualties and just stay safe, stay healthy. This too shall pass. And when it does, we will pick up where we left off. And that's it. So we were home and we rebooked for June. Didn't happen. Rebooked for later, not going to happen. So everyone is just playing it, conservatively and saying, okay, May of next year. And that's how it is. Everyone was thinking it would be a few months, and they were thinking it would be the year, but realistically, it's going to be a good year and a half. And the other thing to realize is that you have all these bands that want to make up their 2020 touring, plus whatever was planned for bands in 2021, 2 years of touring stuffed into this funnel, where out of it comes all these venues where a lot of them may not survive.
Exactly.
And already a lot of them are shutting down. There's less places to play, twice as much touring wanting to happen, and things already previously being booked ahead of time. Like right now, if you wanted to book something, there's a good chance that there may be no openings and no places to play for a year and a half, even if you wanted to. So it's creating this big...
domino effect.
The interesting after effect of it all that's to be seen. And then you have situations like what, the infamous memo of Live Nation saying that, well, when bands go out and play again, being that you're also desperate to do it and you need to in order to survive and put food on the table, we're going to take advantage of that. And even though we just had, supposedly, $500 million invested in us from, overseas, and we're doing fine, we're going to fuck the shit out of you with sandpaper. And, now you will get none of your, to all of you that never did a tour budget, the way it works is you need to get guarantees, like down payments from the people that are booking your shows. With those down payments, that's how you rent the buses, the hotels, this, that, the gear, like everything to, do your part in paying the bills to make that tour happen. And off the very top, 10% goes to the booking agent who's organizing all the shows, making the deals with all the promoters and doing everything, and then presenting their version of the tour and the routing and everything to you. And you might say, well, we might need a day off here because of this, or maybe instead of here, if we could fill in that date with this, and like that kind of thing. They get 10% off the top. Now, what Live Nation was proposing is that the band only gets 10%. So basically, we would have to make a whole tour happen with no money other than having that booking agent get paid, and the band has nothing to, we'd all be digging into our pockets to
fund the tour.
To pay tens of thousands of dollars of flights and everything, from a band that just had no income for a year. And like that kind of situation, that's just one aspect of it. Then there were things where if the show gets canceled, the band has to pay the promoter twice what they were going to get paid. How that works out, I don't know. But like things like that. If a show gets canceled for any reason, it's all on the band. They eat it all and no one else. Like it was all the stuff that basically would have made it completely impossible to ever tour. You just couldn't do it. The risk was so great, and you couldn't even pay the upfront costs So they were ending the touring, or at least what was going to happen is every band was going to say, well, we are no longer working with Live Nation. So every band would be touring and making deals, and Live Nation would go under because they would have no bands. We could do it without them. They can't do it without us.
No.
And that's the thing that a lot of these companies need to remember before they try and take advantage and play dirty, is that we need to work together to make it happen. It's a team effort, and you have to everybody has to work together to make it happen, or it doesn't happen. And if it doesn't happen, either it's got to be a win-win or it's a lose-lose. That's how it is.
Now, because everyone has had to adapt, we've all, like you guys as musicians, have had to adapt, to maybe doing online shows and lessons and virtual work courses or workspaces and things like that, master classes of that nature. Do you think we'll see another rise of a company that may want to work with touring acts, like aside from Live Nation, or will bands do more crowdfunding? Because Live Nation has really, really, screwed everybody over, and there's no doubt about that.
They did pull back on it. They said that's not going to happen. We're not going to do that.
Okay, so that's good. So they're favorable then.
Oh, they are. Yes, they've kept themselves an option. Yes. What I'm hoping is that the things that we've developed in these past few months, we can take with us on the road. For example, there are a lot of companies that are creating virtual stages where, your whole entire background is more than just green screen. Like your floor, your ceiling, the whole room that you're in three-dimensionally is created that you're in. I know Katy Perry just did a recent music video where she used that technology. So what if you take with you now, besides just the venue that you're playing in, screens all around you that could create this whole really cool environment, things like that. Now, the technology that we have like this, how I was hoping that during this time they would somehow find a way to get around the latency thing that stops us from all being able to jam real time. Hasn't happened, and I don't know if it will happen, but imagine if it did. You can do something like have a guest at your show for a song that isn't there, that's Skyped in.
Doing a duet with
that's
you.
On a window, on a screen with you, that's playing with you. Tonight we got a special guest coming in from here, and jamming. And, imagine being able to take a guitar solo with some band where you're not there, but you get to play the song with them from wherever you are, and it's in time, and it works. Something like that. Virtual meet and greets. I've started doing those kind of things where just a bunch of people, we all get together, we hang out, and I'm playing songs and just doing this with a whole group of people. It's fun as hell. What if that can happen once bands get out again? For the people that can't make it to the show, have a little virtual something so that everyone could be in touch and do something. Or what if we can play some songs for them, just for them to watch or something like that. That kind of stuff. Hopefully we can integrate what we've had to do by necessity with what we've been doing, what we will do again, and incorporate that in and add to it.
Yeah.
That'll be.
Well, it's funny because some people look negatively towards the virtual meet and greets because a lot of musicians have adapted it. But what I like about virtual meet and greets, I think it's honestly, it's a better thing. Number one, the fact that when you, like I've had a lot of meet and greets over my life, Van Halen, hey, shake hands, go, and you're gone, right? Like 7 seconds. But with the virtual meet and greets, it's like you're having a conversation. You're calling your friend on FaceTime or Skype or whatever, like you and I are talking right now. But you get to spend more time with the artist than you would anyways at a real meet and greet, and we can't do it safely anyways. So I can't see anything but positive in those. Yeah,
most of the meet and greets are that assembly line bullshit. They shouldn't call it a meet and greet. It should just be called like a shake and walk.
Yeah,
it's just hi. And even if you try to have a conversation, there's someone that's going to be like, "Come on, we got to get going. There's 20 other people waiting." So if there's a way that people can actually do what we're doing right now. Yeah. So Sons of Apollo did start doing that. We started having ones where they come to the sound check. We have a whole Q&A time and we play some songs. Some people, they get behind the gear, get behind Mike's kit, play my guitar and stuff like that. So we did up it, because the first tour that we did that assembly line thing. And I just, we all thought it could be better. There could be something more, and we need to make the time for it, make it happen. So we did, and we'll be doing that again when we get back out. For my own solo shows, something that I actually stole from David Ellefson, that we toured together a couple of years ago, where he was doing something called Bass Story, which is sort of like a storyteller show. And then I would do my own storyteller show. And then at the end of the night, we would jam together, doing anything from Kiss to just, of course, Megadeth, but just all kinds of things we would do, just have fun jamming. And for the meet and greet, what we would do is we would have dinner. When it was dinner time for us to eat before everything, after the sound check, you have dinner, and then there's a little space there. So what we did is we would have an eat and greet, and we would all go to a nearby restaurant and book out a table for however many, or a group of tables for however many people, and we would all have dinner together where we can spend the time for a good hour of just chatting and hanging, and within that we sign stuff and take pictures and do everything. But it's a better way.
It is.
It's a better way. So I started doing that for a lot of my shows as well. I remember there was one show that I did where we did like a 1 hour of the eat and greet, and then it was only like 7 people, and we all went upstairs to my dressing room and hung out for another hour of just chatting like this.
Fans will never forget it. That's the thing, because people's first impression of a meet and greet, I'll share mine. This is funny. It's not music. And I don't even remember how old I was. I was probably a very young adult, probably 20s. And I saw, remember David Copperfield, the magician?
Sure, yeah.
I saw him at a beautiful venue, which I think you've even played at, the Fox Theater in Detroit. Have you played there? At a beautiful, beautiful venue. Saw a couple great acts there, like.
It's gone through a couple of names, though, right?
Pardon?
Has it gone through a few different names? No?
I think it's still considered the Fox. I apologize, I don't know for sure. I saw great bands like Robert Plant there, Faith No More. But my first meet and greet in my life, other than meeting Bozo the Clown, actually, that goes even way back in black and white days, the Bozo on TV. But no, the first real meet and greet, as far as I can remember, is David Copperfield. And it was like probably 2,000 people. He would stay there till it was done. And I swear to God that when I went, he looked like a robot. He just put his pen like this, and you brought your tour program. You spent $25 or $30 on it. It would go like this. It'd look at you like this. I didn't even look at, just look in the eye like that. Next. And I was like, what a kind of non-emotional.
You're buying an autograph.
Yeah.
In case you want to eBay it for $25 and make your money back.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's the sad thing, though, is that how are you supposed to possibly? Let's say you wanted to spend 1 minute talking to 200 people.
Yeah, you can't.
Each. Okay. You're talking 3+ hours right there.
Just that after the show. I know you just can't do it.
Yeah, and the problem is, even if you wanted to do that, the venue is waiting for you to get the hell out of there because they don't want to pay everyone overtime. They got to clean up. They got to lock up. They got to be done and out.
Yep.
So there's that too. It's not you're in someone else's home when you're doing a show.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't overstay your welcome.
And unions.
That's the problem.
Unions too, right? The union things.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
With that gets into some real serious stuff. Yeah, if it's a union place, you go 1 minute over, you're getting into thousands and thousands of dollars. I've played some places where every minute was $15,000.
Whoa. Yeah. So keep it tight for sure. I mean, let's start to put the lights on, the air conditioning goes off, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, very strict rules in union places.
Well,
so that's the thing is that if you have a lot of people, even if you want to talk to people, you can't. And it could be as frustrating for you as it is for them. It's like, it's almost like you're just angry. It's like, fine, can't talk, sorry. Can't talk, sorry. Like you actually feel bad doing it.
Yeah.
In a way. You feel guilty.
But going back to canceling the tour and getting back home, I know a lot of fans. I saw some of the social media posts as well too. It was so sad. Like some of these fans, like not the diehard fans, but there's some greedy fans. Oh, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you? Blah 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 blah. I think those are closet fans. The diehard fans really appreciate it. But I think we're very very grateful that you guys and the guys and girls behind the crew and everything between not just guys on the stage like yourselves, but there's so many people involved in that crew got back home safe. And we
got lucky. I know some bands that were out there that didn't. Yeah,
like the Testament, whatever, with the other bill that was out there as well too. That was not so healthy for everybody.
Yeah, Death Angel.
Yeah,
the drummer got hard. Yeah. So yeah, and just look, I'm from New York. I live in Jersey. A ton of my friends in New York got it. Their family members got it, and some really struggled. This thing is no joke.
No.
Yeah, it's here, and yeah, we can't. For the people that want to act like they're more powerful than nature, or people that have conspiracy things, or people that are lucky enough to not have any personal dealings in any way with it, that could act like it doesn't exist. Whatever it is, and from the comfort of their own home, they could certainly call out other people that don't want to kill their grandparents and their parents with it, and that are playing it very safe, not just for themselves, for everyone around them, because you don't know you have it until it shows. And by then, how many people did you infect?
Exactly.
You gotta be responsible. This is just plain and simple. I make no apologies for that frame of mind and that outlook. I know too many people that have had it, and they had a hard time, and they spread it. And it's not good. I know people that have had family members die. And I'm not talking old ones either, young ones. It's no joke. And for any shithead that wants to say, well, it's a secondary infection that kills them if they have diabetes or this is that, it doesn't matter.
Yep. It doesn't discriminate. It does not discriminate. And here's something that's
But it doesn't matter the fact that they had diabetes. The point is, don't be an asshole. Don't infect people.
Yep.
The same thing if someone dies of pneumonia because they got AIDS. You're saying that, well, they didn't die of AIDS, they died of it. Shut the fuck up. Like, just, yeah.
Here's an important thing as well, too. When you talk about some of the young people, I shared a thing on Twitter today, too, where there's people over in Michigan, no disrespect to Michigan, but I mean, they're frolicking at the beach. It just looked like sardines in a can. No, like just vertical jumping and pogo dancing in the lake. But here's what people don't realize. It does attack the young. It does attack the old. A bunch of other things like that as well, too. But even if you get it and you completely survive it, it's something that can attack you for the rest of your life as far as your respiratory, your lungs, and things of that nature. And someone who's
permanent lung damage. I mean, there's things that can happen.
Imagine you're 20 years old, 25 years old, a young man or woman, in the best of your health, and now you've got 60, 75 years to live of your life with potential problems. So just like you said, just be smart, right?
Yeah, don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Don't be, that's, and let's be honest here. There are certain points in our age where we think we know more than we do. Mm-hmm. And then as we get older, we realize how much we don't know, and we get humble about it, and we don't have an ego about it. That happens with age. Mm-hmm. If I looked at my 22-year-old self, I would be like, what an asshole. When I'm 70, I'm going to look at my 50-year-old self and be like, what an asshole. Because wherever you are, whatever point you are in your personal growth, and you can't blame people for being where they are, that they are where they are. It's just,
Well, we look back at our parents.
Humanity, this is it.
That's right.
We all got to deal with each other. So if we're going to deal with each other, all I can say is I'm going to do my part to play it safe, to not make other people sick. It's that simple. It's that simple. If that makes me a pussy, I am a proud pussy.
There you go.
I'm also going to not make people sick.
I'll join you on that one. I wear a mask everywhere I go, and I get kind of, it's almost like I'm a minority in the community sometimes, but I feel proud. And this will be the last thing we'll touch on this. The last thing we touch on the pandemic. But I would much rather wear a mask and look to a colleague over here and see a person wearing a mask. It's a nice comfort thing. It's just like, okay, thanks, brother. Thanks, buddy. That's great. I feel better. I hope you feel better. It's
just respect other people.
Yeah.
Don't be a self-centered, self-important asshole.
Yeah.
You do it to respect other people.
Agreed.
It's that simple. If you're gonna act like you're more powerful than nature, and that you can't get it, and that you can't spread it, and all this stuff, you're just being an asshole.
Agreed.
Flat out saying it. I'm sure Blabbermouth will pick this up. We'll get the fuck.
There you go.
If you don't care about other people's well-being enough to do the simplest little thing, then you're an asshole.
That's right. So Blabbermouth, we're looking at about the 50-minute mark into the show, just to save you guys some work because I know you're busy. A couple other comments coming in. There's a nice super chat from Rob Santi. Thank you so very, very much. And a couple comments coming in. Antonello says, for everyone who loves Brown Sound, you must try Pasadena Complete Deluxe preset online at Line 6 Marketplace. That's mine, my Van Halen one. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Coming from a guitar player like that, it's very humbling. I did a preset package where it was all eras of Van Halen, so that's pretty cool. And AZ asked, he says, when Bumblefoot was with Guns N' Roses, were there pre-recorded tracks for vocals and or guitars when playing live?
Definitely not guitars. For all of the stuff that wasn't Chinese Democracy, we were wrong. There were no backing tracks, no anything. We just played. For the Chinese Democracy stuff, there were some, they were like recorded speeches from Martin Luther King in one song. There was, I'm trying to think, there was a click track because there were some, like just effects from the album and things that were in there. Guitars, no. No, the guitars were all live. Yeah. Okay,
that's good to know. And as you and I were earlier talking about, we were talking about some of the Line 6 staff and how much we appreciate them. We were talking about Andrew Bonica, and he's actually in the chat. He's popped in as well, too.
Oh, great.
Yeah, nice to have him. He's a great supporter of the show and a good friend as well, too. So we're going to be diving in headfirst into Helix here. We've had some great conversations so far. It's nice just to warm up and just let loose. But of all the different things that you've been doing over the past little while, you've got several singles available. And it's so funny, when I was making my notes, I spelled it wrong earlier, and you corrected me on the spelling of the name. I was looking right at the name when I was typing it. I think either my Mac auto-corrected, whatever. But a really new, cool single called Planetary Lockdown, inspired by all the stuff that we talked about. Really, really cool tune. Tell us about it. And again, that's Bandcamp. We'll be sharing that link. But tell us about the concept of it and what fans might expect from it.
Let me try and put up the song so that I can go through some of the patches on it.
Great.
That was a song that I started writing. I had the very first idea of the song when we were writing the second Sons of Apollo album. It's just something that I brought to the table. But then I said, you know what, this sounds more like it would work as a solo thing than one of our band things. So, like before Sons of Apollo album, before we go and record it, me and Derek are just shooting a million ideas back and forth of just little song ideas, riffs and grooves and things. And me, Derek, and Mike were on this email thread, and we put it onto this big hat. And then the three of us get together and we start writing all the music. And we take the ideas that me and Derek wrote, and Mike is like the conductor of it all. He's like, all right, let's take this idea and put it here, and then do this one 3 times, and then go back to that, and we put it all together. So that was one of the ideas. And as we started thinking about that one, I was like, you know what, I want to save that one. I'm going to save that for something else. I just picture it for something else. And it was actually inspired sort of by the band Saga.
Nice.
You know, I loved that album when it came out with Wind 'Em Up and On the Loose.
Mm-hmm.
And that one song that was like with the spaces and just the bottom together.
Yep.
And I was thinking about that. All right, this thing is loading like crazy. There's a whole lot of VSTs in there that's got to load up. So I was picturing something that kind of did that had riffs, just like a groove, and riffs that had a lot of space in between the phrases, but there were keyboard chords that pulsed and kept it going. So there are so many patches in this song, so many presets that I use. First, you have the straight up rhythm. Let's jump on that one.
Okay, your guitars. There you go. We didn't have any signal for a second, but we got you. Now we lost it again.
Oh, no. Okay.
Is it your wireless? Are you running wireless?
No, I'm plugged in.
Okay. I thought maybe your wireless might have timed out.
Is my feedback?
Here we go. Gotcha. We got you. Yep, we're good.
Seems like a fatter. And it's my usual thing, just the angle and the line 6 epic into the cabs, summing into the 1 IR. This one I had the EQ beforehand on the raw guitar before it goes in, and then just a little bit of mod. And I have a left and right guitar doing that. My sleeve always hits it. Then we get into the solos. Now the solos are actually like a very clean-ish tone going through 2 Fenders together. Let me just enable these tracks. Hopefully this won't overload the system. This song is very taxing on the little PC. I have a whole lot of stuff in here. So I'm using, just hitting kind of clean. Okay, there we go. And that preset, let's hear it for a second. So what's going on there is, let's get into it. Helix Native. How did I ever live without this plugin?
I know, right? No, am I correct? Who told me, either you or Mike? I've had all 5 of you guys on the show. Who told me that most of the record was native?
Yep, the whole record. All my guitar parts are.
Awesome.
I think they are.
Yeah, I think that's what I was told. One of you guys.
So I got a kinky comp going in because this part is very punchy and dynamic, and to make sure nothing gets lost and that your playing is always there, keeping in mind that as long as you set the attack right and give it a super fast release, it's going to keep the guitar in your face, but it's not going to change your actual dynamics punch-wise. So we have that going in, and then we have my favorite little dual pitch, where I have a -12 and a +12, and giving it just about 37% of each octave above. Then I have the guitar EQ, where I'm pulling back some 62.5 hertz, because it was getting a little on the picking. There was a little bit of happening through it. That's really all I did in there. We go to our mod, my favorite little script mod. Mm-hmm. And then the wonderful auto filter. It's on bandpass, filter gain 18, filter Q 7.5. You got sensitivity, attack, everything to give it a little bit of wah, 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 wah. But the mix level is only 35%. We don't want it to sound completely synthesized. Here's 100%.
Too much. A little too much, yeah.
On the 35, so all it's really doing is just adding a little bit of voice to notes. And it's reacting to your dynamics. And that is going into a nice deluxe normal, double normal, into my IR, and then follow it up with a deluxe comp that's squashing everything and leveling it out again, and then delay, reverb, done. first verses, variations of that. Then there's a second verse where it does a similar thing, just slight variation to it. And then when it goes back to the original thing after it, we're adding in like a siren-y. I love siren-y, droning, dark kind of sounding guitars. So for that, I am on the fretless. And I'm playing octaves, but slightly, rather unisons, but a little bit off from each other, so there's a little wobble in there. When it goes to the C sharp chord, just to get its true fifth in there, I drag it down a little bit. But still keeping that A on it.
It's got a bit of haunting to it, a little tiny bit on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that right there, my favorite thing, is what we got. Again, going back to the pitch echo. So, the song is at 128 BPMs. A 16th note is 117.25 milliseconds. Round it down. We take the pitch echo and give it a fifth above, 0.7. Now, every note I play is going to play a 16th note, a fifth above. So, with that, I go through my usual gobbledygook that I use, and I came up with patterns that come up with all different things, and then every once in a while I actually hit the fifth, where I hit it along with the repeat that's happening from the pitch echo. So then you end up with, instead of just like you get you don't even notice that I'm playing on top of the repeat. I'm playing the same thing as the repeat, so now we're getting a fifth and a fifth stacked. So with that, you could do something like, without it, we go. Forgetting my song. So that little, once you put on the pitch echo, we're getting a fifth and a fifth to it. So check it out. You have, so cool. So that's what I'm doing for the solo. But it gets even better.
But wait, there's more.
So with this, being that we have 16th notes happening, you can quickly do a flutter of 30-second notes in there. So check it out. Instead of just going, you go. So I'm playing two notes in the space, two 30-second notes, and those are repeating a fifth higher. So now you have. I'm out of practice with it. So yeah, so I was doing things in the solo where I just kind of jump in. So yeah. So I'm just doing all these weird combinations of patterns and things throughout for the solo. So if we solo the solo, here's a little bit of what you get. Like that. And then it gets crazier after. If we take off that pitch delay, listen to how simple it is. It's nothing. You know.
That really puts it in perspective. It does.
Mm-hmm. It's all about working. So that right there, if you take it off.
Wow.
The Helix is not your assistant. It is your partner. It is your dance partner. It is something that it doesn't just give sound to what you play. It adds to what you play, where you can create things that you couldn't even play without it. Like, it's just part of the sound that you're making together. You can find ways to play and use this gear where you're creating something that you'd never be able to do.
You gotta say that to Frank. If Frank's still here, I'm sure he is in the chat. The new slogan, Helix 3.0 is going to come out. Helix is not just your assistant; it's your dance partner. ... Ron Bumblefoot Thal.
Think of it that way. Like, you can really use it as part. I guess a better way to put it is, it is also an instrument. That's a good way to put it. Is that it's more than just something to step on. It's an instrument in itself, or it can be used as one.
Beautiful.
So let's see. Then we go into a nice swishy. Wah pedal, fretless. And all that is just delay and reverb on it, just a little more mix.
You do know that I want to sell all my guitars and open up a hot dog stand now, right?
So that is the song Planetary Lockdown. And I will be making that whole pack of presets and everything for this song. I'm going to put it on Marketplace.
Perfect.
I'll put it on the Line 6 Marketplace. I've gotten the info for that in October, and I still haven't done it because I am just a really bad human being. I have 80 presets waiting to put on there. All the touring presets from 2018 with Sons of Apollo, including the stuff we did at our big live DVD, Blu-ray, with all the covers and everything, so Comfortably Numb and Diary of a Madman, where I use the simple pitch to just switch my tuning down half a step instead of using a different guitar. A lot of good stuff in that pack of stuff. And then all the stuff for every song of Symphony, MMXX, the second album. That one has a whole lot of guitar sounds going on in that. For some of the rhythm sounds, what I did is I used, dare I say the word, a cocked wah.
Oh, I use that term all the time. That's Eddie Van Halen. That cocked wah is that nasal tone.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So for a lot of the rhythms, what I would do is just get it to like a nice middle tone and pull back the mix of it a little bit, and it just adds that thing to your rhythms. That cool thing. You take that and you put it on before the distortion.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, let me find one of those. Let me get out of this one.
I'm glad you mentioned that term as well too. That's how I kind of explain Eddie Van Halen's tone for the past 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Is that it sounds like his wah's caught in a board and it's halfway engaged.
It's a cool thing. So let's see. Something to follow too. Let's try asphyxiation. Or actually, you know what? Wait, I have the presets right here. Okay, let me go back to where I was, and I'll just load it up. So, yeah. Let's put in... How's it about... It's a new world today. There we go. So a lot, like 45%, 25% mix. Is that it? It just has the full body, but it just...
Mm-hmm.
And then for a smoother distortion, I'm using the Stupor overdrive. And then my usual stuff. So for like a good biting metal rhythm, it's a really nice combination. I find even more so than the what you call it, the one I always use. I'm having a brain fart. Scream 808. Yeah, the TS 808, the tube screamer.
Nice.
I mean, that one is usually the go-to, but I find that the Stupor one, which is more of just something even more to it.
I love it. Just for shits and giggles, have you ever tried this? This is something that I've done a couple of videos on it. Using back when I was using real amplifiers like the 5153s and things of that nature, I had the Zodic EP booster and I put it in the loop.
Yeah, I got one sitting right over there.
Okay, so do this on Helix later on. Do the Kinky Boost and put it. So if you're going to use an amp and then a cab, or an amp and an IR, put it between the amp, like so, amp, Kinky Boost IR, or amp, Kinky Boost cab. Put the drive to 0, but put the boost on. And it's one of those things. I mean, it may affect you differently, but it's almost like, okay, where the hell has this tone been my entire life?
All right.
It's beautiful.
Right now.
It's beautiful.
Let's take a boost.
Yep. No drive and just boost on. It can even make the world's crappiest impulse response sound like $1 million, or the world's crappiest cab. Now turn it off. Turn it up, play a little bit, and then turn it off and see what you think.
It does that thing, yeah.
You like it? That's my payment for coming on the show.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, I'm glad you like it.
Oh, I deep in it.
It's cool.
Forever. Very nice. Wow. So yeah.
So let me guess. Let me guess. Was it Mr. Sheehan, Billy himself? Was he the one that kind of twisted your arm and said, "Look at this thing"?
You know, I was on tour with a band in 2017 called Art of Anarchy. We were passing through where Sweetwater was. I was like, we gotta stop here. You have to see this place. So took the guys to Sweetwater, and it was just amazing. And then I was talking to John, the other guitar player, and I was telling him I was using some fractal stuff years ago, and he was asking about those things, and I saw the Helix there, and I basically sold it to him on the spot. Like I said, I showed him the Helix. I was like, here's how this stuff works, and I did a product demonstration without ever using one before.
Wow!
I had never touched one before. I had never, like, there was my first time with a Helix in front of me, and it was so user friendly that without ever seeing anything else and just knowing like, just how these kind of things work, I showed him. I was like, all right, you go into here, and then you can choose your amp, and then this effects, and then if you hit this, and then it changes what the pedals do, and what kind of sound you're looking for that. All right, check this out. There you go. There's your sound. Now, anytime, anywhere you go, you don't have to rent an amp. You don't have to bring an amp. You have it with you, and you're good to go. And he was like, wow, this is great. Sold. And he bought it right there. That was in 2017. And he bought it. And and then after that, Billy Sheehan, he was using for everything. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I just got to start using this damn thing. It's like I actually sold one. Like I helped my other guitar player in Art of Anarchy get one, and I'm not even using it. What the hell? And I've been a Line 6 guy since 2000, 2001. The Pod 2.0, Veta stuff. Mm-hmm. All the big colored pedals. The FM4 and this 4 and that. I've always been a Line 6 guy.
Have you tried the Pod Go yet?
Even with GNR, like when we first started, I was using a bunch of Veta heads. I have them right in that room. All my Line 6 Veta heads, Veta 2s, still got them. So I was just like, I just need to like dig deep into this and get my sounds and do it and make the time. And I did. And I haven't looked back. And just the fact that you can create on the computer as you're recording, use the same exact things and have the same exact sound. You don't have to try and come up with some version of it for live. You have it. Or anything you do live, you find that you're tweaking it as you do live, and just that right there it's fantastic. We didn't have that 30 years ago.
I know. You had to work it back then, right?
We had to draw with pencil and paper and draw knobs with lines at the exact angle of where they might be on the head of an amp and just make this big drawn-out diagram. You couldn't even take a picture. I mean, you could, but you'd have to take it to Photomat and get it back. And
get them developed.
Yeah.
Those were the days, right? It's totally different today. Have you tried Pod Go yet?
I haven't.
Dude, you got to try it. I did a live stream. You can see a couple of them back there. It's a different framework altogether, not as many blocks and different things of that nature, but sonically, it's using the same amps and effects. I did a stream where I played one of my original songs using Helix, and you can't share presets between them. So you can't share presets between Stomp or Helix or Podgo. They're different animals. Helix and Stomp you can, of course. But so I recreated the presets verbatim, like, block by block, and all the mids, all the amps, all that stuff, all set exactly the same. And fans couldn't tell the difference. 100% the same. So sometimes if you ever need to do a smaller kind of thing where I know Helix is not a big unit, but there's always things where something smaller could come in handy, or maybe for a travel or whatever. Check it out and see. But before we're getting close to the end of the hour here, and I wouldn't even think it's even humanly possible to get any hotter than some of these licks that we just saw of yours. But something that's right up my alley, someone who enjoys food as much as I enjoy a good-looking girl like my better half here, or some hot sauce. All right, some food. Let's talk about this hot sauce that you got, man.
Hot sauce. So yeah. I was 12 years old, and my older cousin Steve dared me to eat a hot pepper.
Okay.
And he said, "He'll give me $5 if I eat a hot pepper." And I was saving up for gear. I was trying to buy, I was always buying DiMarzio Super Distortion pickups and modifying guitars at 12. I would do all the soldering and working and everything, and just try and modify guitars. So I was like, all right, that's going to the pickup fund. I'll do it. So I ate the pepper, and I loved it. I thought it was great. And ever since then, I would make a turkey sandwich, rye bread, turkey, some spicy brown mustard, and just tons of just cherry peppers and hot peppers and on there. And people knew that I liked hot stuff, so always as gifts, like Merry Christmas, and they would get me some, obscure hot sauce. Eventually it reaches a point where your whole refrigerator is just full of hot sauces. The whole door is nothing but hot sauces, and you have them on a table next to the fridge. So I was very much into the whole hot sauce thing. And just like music, when you're really into music, at some point you get so inspired that you want to pick up an instrument and start playing. And you want to start writing music, and you want to start sharing music in the way that it has been shared with you, where you can make people feel as good as other people have made you feel with their music. Well, it's the same with hot sauce. People have hurt me so much with their hot sauces that I wanted to hurt other people. So I started toying around. And what happened was there was a company that was looking to get people on board from outside the company, like, what would you call it? Just, I guess, a special line of sauces that would be made, So we made Bumblefoot Hot Sauces. And got together with them. I remember I was doing the residency in Vegas with GNR, and in between shows, flying out to Ohio and meeting with them and getting in the kitchen and boiling blueberries, and they weren't popping enough, so they recommended, why don't we try sour cherries instead, and making a line of hot sauces. Put them out, did great. Over the years, they sold their company, and I started my own food company and got my own manufacturer, distributor, a couple of resellers in Australia, in the UK, and Canada, and that's it. So they're just this past year, around October, November, December, rolled them out again. So Bumblefoot's hot sauces, you have the first sauce I will tell you about. This is a whole other, this could be the hot sauce hour now. So you have the sauce. That's all it is. It's called the sauce. And it is the sauce that you want to put on everything. You want to just leave it on your table, and anytime you want to put hot sauce on something, this is the stuff. It is a sauce that is more complex than the usual biting, simple, just peppers and vinegar kind of thing. It's something that has Mediterranean herbs in it, and it goes with Mexican food, it goes with Italian food, it goes with Greek food, it goes with Lebanese food, it goes with Turkish food, it goes with Thai food, it goes with Indian food. I wanted something that would go with everything I love to eat. And this is the sauce that does that. And it won 2 first place awards at NAMM conventions for food. A thing called Zest Fest out in Dallas, Texas, at the big convention center there for a couple of days at this big festival. When I first rolled this sauce out in 2013, it won first place as a mild sauce. And when I re-put it out, re-released it in 2019, and 2020, this past January, they had the festival again, the convention, and it won first place again.
Incredible.
So 2-time first place winner. The next sauce I'll tell you about is called Bumblelicious. Okay. It is a barbecue-y kind of zesty, thick sauce that goes great with barbecue, goes great with chicken, goes great with stir fry, anything that you would put like a nice peppery, barbecue-y kind of sauce on, this is the stuff. And the same thing. This sauce won twice first place award at food conventions. So this one, it has chipotle, it has cherry, it has bourbon, and I've seen people drinking this from the bottle. They liked it so much.
Wow.
It is more than delicious. It is Bumblicious.
And I know the next one. I know the name of the next one.
Funny. Then the hottest one, those are both mild. I have a stupidly, painfully, brutally, it shouldn't even exist, hot sauce that is so hot. Literally, I keep saying literally, but like for real, 1 dot. Like you just take like the tip of a fork and just a dot of it, touch it to your mouth, and you will be on fire for 10 minutes. It burns everything it touches. It just goes numb. And then you count to 10, exactly 10 seconds. And you feel this heat rise like someone opened an oven door in the back of your throat. And then it just goes to your whole body. And you're just walking around for 10 minutes just like, and the name of the sauce is Bumblefucked.
Couldn't be better. Couldn't be better.
This sauce is actually one of the best sellers because there's a whole like subculture of people that love hot food, and this one is done really well. If you ever watch the show Hot Ones, the people that make that show,
love that show.
Well, that company that makes it, called First We Feast, they actually did a blog where they did the 10 hottest sauces in the world, and Bumblefucked was I think, either number 4 or number 3.
Wow.
And yeah, so that's my other passion is, of course, food. But food that is intense and will make you run around the room screaming. And just the same way I love music that is so intense that will make you run around the room screaming. About all. Hot sauce is it's the heavy metal of food.
That's right.
It absolutely is. It's nothing else is as intense and gets you as riled up and leave you so affected the way hot sauce is as hot. Nothing can be as sweet, as sour, as bitter as anything, as hot sauce is hot, or as fiery food is. So I just love that intensity. And you find that a lot of people into rock music and heavier music, it's the intensity they love, whether it's in music or in food or in whatever. Yeah. Is that just having that intensity knob turned way up. Yeah.
You're at your buddy's house, you're in the backyard, you got some beers, and you're grilling on the grill, you got the, some of your sauce. You look over at your buddy, and he's not doing so well. Like, dude, what happened? Were you okay? He goes, no, I've been bumblefucked.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
I've like merch, I have shirts that say, I got bumblefucked. And I have so many videos of people that took it and they just say, it's like, dude, I just got bumblefucked.
Hilarious.
In fact, I know Jen Majora, she just did a blog about the hot sauces.
Okay.
And that one kicked everyone's ass. Yeah. Love the Bumblicious though.
As if she needs more energy. That girl is like coffee and hot sauce and everything else all in one. She
is just like a bright shining light in this world.
She is.
She really.
She's coming back on in about 2 weeks as well too. Looking forward to having her back. As we wrap up, I'll share something with you that you'll appreciate. My better half, Sandra Lee here. She grows all kinds of Carolina Reapers and things of that nature.
Oh
yeah, yes. Oh yeah. And if you want, next we don't have them this year. Next year, they can be sent through the mail. As far as I know, people have sent them, so I'll send you some if you want some. But not even last year, probably about 3 years back, we had. I wrote it down. Sandra texted me, so I wouldn't pronounce it wrong. I think it's called a Chero Recife. Anyways, it's one of the hottest ones on the Scoville scale, and we're growing in the backyard. And just look like, and the funny thing is, we go out there and we'll yell at them and we'll torture them, like, you're never going to be hot. You're a piece of crap. And we really scold these peppers so they get a complex and they become even hotter, right? I'm being silly, of course, but we want
you, Dad. I'll show you.
So my son and I, at the time, he's 14 now. He was probably 11. We each ate one live on a YouTube show, and we had some milk ready and things of that nature. And we took a big bite out of them. Insane, man. Like when you talk about that ovening opening up, it felt like an oven opening up, people taking some X-Acto blades and playing tic-tac-toe, with our throats. Insane. But if we get some more growing next year, I'll be happy to send you some for sure.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, listen, this is as we say, this is the fastest 90 minutes a person could ever want for a show. This was fantastic. It's great to have you back. It's always a pleasure. I want to thank everyone in the chat for joining in today. Also for those beautiful super chats, we appreciate that. And we want to remind you we are back again next week. Next week is going to be the Tale of Two Petes, and it's kind of a different thing over on Rock Shop Live, 9 o'clock Eastern. I know you're a Breaking Bad fan. We have Skinny Pete, who played by Charles Baker, a very accomplished musician. Did you know in that scene where Skinny Pete and Badger go to the music store to get the big road cases for the Vominos, the mobile labs? Remember that scene? They're in there and Badger's playing a double neck Rickenbacker, a double neck BC Rich guitar, and Skinny Pete's playing some really cool classical Bach whatever on the piano. I'm not sure if you remember that. That'd be in season 4 or 5, 4 I think.
Gotta go back.
Yeah. Well, he actually is a very accomplished musician, so that what he was playing was real. And then over on the Helix Hour next week, another everyone's favorite Pete Thorne is joining us as well too, so we'll have lots of fun. But listen, buddy, thank you so much for that preset. Everyone, follow that link in the live description or the live chat there as well too. Big thanks to Sandra Lee, our producer here, for making the show run so well today. And Ron, I'll say goodbye to you off the air. Everyone, check out that hot sauce. I know I'm going to order some, especially now I know I can get it from Canada. I'm going to be putting that shit on everything. Copyright infringement. I better not say that. I'm going to be putting it on everything. There we go. Oh, another super chat from Andrew Bonica says, Ron is the coolest guy on the planet. Awesome musician and human being, not to mention hilarious. And I agree on that. Thanks, buddy. You always...
It's been a pleasure, and thank you everybody that's been watching and chatting. Thanks so much.
Awesome. I'll say goodbye to you out there. Everyone, thanks so much. We'll see you next week. And until then, cheers.
Hey, you're still here? Eric Jr. here, reminding you to check out our full lineup of quality merch. Available right now in the Broadstash Boutique. Quality products and fast shipping. Visit broadstash.com today.
Thank you for watching the Helix Hour. We hope you enjoyed today's presentation. An extra special thank you to the staff at Line 6 for their continued support. If you've not yet subscribed, please do so right now and feel free to share our content with your friends. See you next time on the Helix Hour.